Cello, cello, cello. Let's try this again. Hello, everybody. I know it's been a minute. I haven't been doing lives. I haven't been sharing and having my heart-to-heart talks with you guys, but I'm back. I know. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat. Okay, I'm going to stop playing. But for those of you that don't know, I am Miss Jennifer Pink, known affectionately as your single mom sage, because of my unique mission to support single moms on their journey and moving from surviving to thriving. Yes, we can thrive. I know you guys hear me say that all the time, but no, I mean it. I mean it. I mean it. If you guys can hear me, make sure you comment and let me know that you can hear me, you can see me. We are good, right? So for the last week and a half or so, I have been experiencing a lot of letting it go, right? And I don't necessarily mean myself personally. I just mean like in talking to my clients and interacting with people on social media. I keep hearing these things that we're saying, and it boils down to not letting go of something, right? Something that has happened to us, something that we're holding on to. So I thought, why not have a heart-to-heart talk about letting it go, right? How do we do that? Why should we do that? Like, what does that really mean? What does that look like? So as I was preparing to do this broadcast, I came across some pictures, and pictures have the amazing talent of reminding you of how it used to be, reminding you of what happened, right? What had happened was, like, pictures do that, right? And they can take you right back to that moment, like in an instant, without any hesitation. You could be on cloud nine and see a picture and just be ready to cry, right? So I came across these pictures and I thought, I'm going to share them with you guys because it's like perfect about what we're talking about. So here's this picture. So that is me. This is me. About 10 years ago on my wedding day, right? This is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. I mean, I thought I was flawless. Like, I feel like I could have been in a magazine. I was like it, right? I mean, if you don't think it, nobody else will. But it didn't work out. My marriage fell apart. I am no longer married to that man. We've been separated for 8 years, divorced for probably like 4 or 5. Like, I had to let that go because I had clearly this vision, this dream. I mean, I went as far as getting the dress and the crown and the veil and the hair and flowers and having this moment, and now it's over. I had to let it go. But before we even talk about just that piece of it, like, let me tell you about something else I had to let go of that all of us parents have to let go of. See the little people? This is my first 2 babies. They're so little. They're not those people anymore. They are not these cute little innocent babies who just, make my heart melt. They are not these people anymore. I had to let that go because we want to hold on to this. I feel you. I want to hold on to this. I wish they were still this. But we have to let it go. And then what about those friendships that have ended? Those lifelong friends that you just thought were like going to be there forever, right? Like, that's my ride or die. Or that relationship that you just knew, right? Like, y'all were going to get married. Y'all was going to grow old together. Y'all was going to have all these kids. Like, what about those things? Because we've got to let those things go too. Like, when those friendships end, when those people are no longer in our lives, right? And I love some ride or die friends, and I appreciate all the experiences that I've experienced, but they're not here anymore. So how do I let that go? And like, why do I need to let that go? And here's the truth of it, okay? It's hard. It is not easy to let go, especially when we feel like somebody has wronged us, somebody has treated us unfairly, and they've gotten away with it. Like, they did us greasy, and now they just out here living the life. They balling out of control. They doing them, and we sitting at home like, for real? That's how this gonna go down? For real, for real? Like, I'm struggling, my heart is broken, I'm over here crying, and you just living, right? That's the hardest time to let it go. It's just like, it's so hard to move on because you don't feel like you matter. You don't feel like what happened to you is of any importance. So it's hard to let it, like, I felt that. I'm with you. Been there. Didn't nobody care that the wedding was over. Like, didn't nobody care that my marriage ended. They was just like moving on with their life. And so here's what I learned. When we don't let it go, when we hold on to it, when we get in our feelings, that one creates bitterness. And that's how we get to that place of feeling like I've been done wrong. They did it to me. That's where bitterness sets in. But more importantly, we stay stuck. We stay stuck right there in that moment of when they did us wrong, when they hurt us, when they left us, when the dream fell apart. That's literally where we stay stuck, right? And I used to look at these pictures and I used to feel like, I'm such a failure. Oh my gosh, I just didn't do it right. Like, how am I going to come back from this, right? Like, I used to feel that when I looked at these pictures. Now I look at them and I'm like, I was popping. Like, that girl is fine. I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I remember the good things about it. Like, oh my gosh, I had the wedding of my dreams. Like, how many people can say that? I look at them now and I say, oh my gosh, like, it was just such a beautiful experience. Oh my gosh, me and my mama, we can plan some stuff. Like, we could do this right here. Like, that's how I see it now. Why? Because I've let go of the what happened to me. I let go of how it didn't work out the way I planned or envisioned. How did I do that though? Like, I didn't snap my fingers and it just happened. I did not suppress it, because that's what we like to do. We like to just, push that down, hide that up underneath some stuff. We'll come back to that another day. Like, oh, I'm moving on with my life, so I'm cool. Like, I let it go. Not so much. I didn't hold on to any when I let it go, I had to let all of it go. I had to let go of the anger. I had to let go of the hurt. I had to let go of the frustration. I had to let go of my expectations of who my ex-husband was supposed to be, who I needed him to be. I had to let go of literally all those pieces to the pie. Like, you have to let them all go. But how? Like, how can you do that? It takes time. It's a process. You are not going to wake up and it just happened. You've got to deal with it. Like, you've got to look at it honestly and truly. And here's the most important part. You can't look at it from their point of view. You can't look at it from what they did. Good afternoon, Minister Carolyn. You can't focus on them. Like, you can't. You have to literally focus on you. Only you. And you have to accept what happened. I had to accept, one, and as far as I was concerned with my marriage, I didn't make a good choice to begin with. 2, that wasn't the marriage that God ordained for me. 3, I was trying to force him to be what I wanted versus who he was. 4, it didn't work out. Like, all of those reasons combined with everything else, it didn't work out. Like, I had to get to that point. And you can't get to that point if at any point you are focused on them. If at any point you are focused on what they did to you. If at any point you are caught up in them. Right? Like, I've even been a victim of domestic violence. Like, I had a boyfriend try to kill me. Like, he tried to choke the life out of me. I always today say he choked the life into me. But that's a whole different conversation. But how do I get past being the victim of a domestic violence? How do I become a survivor? How do I become an overcomer? How do I become somebody who can tell my story and share it with the world? I have to let it go. And me letting it go does not mean that he wasn't wrong. It does not mean that it's okay that he did that. It does not mean that I agree with his actions. because I don't on any level. It just means that, you know what, that's what happened. I'm going to learn my lesson, and I'm going to become better for it. I'm going to allow everything, every positive thing, every negative thing, every whatever thing, make me better. I am determined to always be better. I will not be bitter. You will not hold me captive. You will not keep me stuck in your mess. I will be better. Like, when you make that declaration, when you make that your conviction and you stick to it, you start letting a whole lot of stuff go. I mean, some of us, let's just keep it real, are holding on to, oh, as a woman, let me just talk about me again. I can't really have great relationships with women because, you know, women have always done me wrong. They've always, you know, treated me like this, and they've always looked at me this way. And where did that stem from? That stemmed from when we was on the playground and she didn't want to play with us. That stemmed from when, you know, they were all ganged up as their little posse, their little crew, and you couldn't break in. That is not that women can't be friends. That has nothing to do with women working together. That has nothing to do with building strong relationships and bonds with other women. We holding on to some stuff when we was kids. Kids! We grown now. What happened when we was 10 and 8 and 7 and 6 on the playground cannot be affecting how we view the world in our 30s and 40s and 50s. Like, we've got to let it go. Because if you don't, guess what? You'll be the 50-year-old woman who doesn't have any real female friends, doesn't have any relationships with women, doesn't collaborate well with women, doesn't work well with women, and you still sitting up talking about how it's everybody else, but you haven't even checked the fact that you walked in the door with that mentality, the fact that you walked in the door holding on to what happened when you was a kid on the playground. Like, and that's what happens when we don't let it go. We literally walk into the next situation. We walk into the door holding on to what happened back then, so therefore we got to make sure it doesn't happen right now. That cannot stop anything from happening. I got married back then, 10 years ago. It didn't work out. That is not going to keep me from being married today. That is not going to keep me from being with the man that God created just for me. That is not going to keep me from being happy. What happened then ain't got nothing to do with what's going on today. And that's what we do. Exactly, Carolyn. We bring our past into the future. But we say, oh, well, I'm not dealing with him anymore, or I don't talk to her anymore, so therefore I'm not doing that. That's not true. That is not true, because you are holding on to it somewhere within the confines of your heart, somewhere within the confines of your being. You are holding on to what happened. Case in point, right? When I met my husband, we went through, you know, a moment before we got married, and he said something to me. And I broke up with him. We was done. Like, oh yeah, this ain't it. This ain't gonna be the one. Like, nope, you got to go. And why? Because what he said reminded me of what my abuser said. He didn't touch me. He didn't hit. He didn't threaten me. He didn't show any signs of aggression towards me. He wasn't trying to control me. There were no abuser signs, right? Because I got real clear about how to spot them. But what he said sounded like what my abuser said. And let me just tell you guys the story, right? There was a moment in my domestic violence relationship when I was in the shower, and he yanked me out of the shower because he needed to talk to me about who was on my phone. I was in the shower, and my my now husband called my phone, and I could hear my son tell him, oh, she's in the shower, you know, oh, she'll call you back. And I guess he told my son to bring me the phone. The mere fact that he told my son to bring me the phone, which he needed to tell me something that was important, that really couldn't wait till I got out the shower. But the mere fact that he did that instantly took me back to the place of being yanked out the shower when I was being abused. Those two things have nothing to do with each other. They are not the same situation. But I was stuck in that abuse. I was stuck in those feelings. So I couldn't see that this was something different. And it was okay in the situation that it was in. And that's how it shows up. That's how we bring our past into our future. That's how we are holding on to it. And it's a subconscious, like it's on some deep, deep levels that we have no clue about. I did not let anything go by myself. First and foremost, I could not be Miss Jennifer Pink, the single mom sage, the woman out here giving these heart-to-heart talks, helping change my community by myself. I couldn't. If I could have let it go by myself, if I could have healed by myself, I'd have been did it. I'd have saved myself a whole lot of trouble that I went through because I wasn't healed and because I was still holding on to. I needed help. And not just, the homegirls who like, girl, I got your back. Or the homeboys who's like, girl, I'm damn, you great, you're amazing. That wasn't what I needed. See, that's what we call motivation, empowerment, right? People who telling you like you can achieve and you can do everything and it'll be okay and you'll take over the world and girl, don't let him steal your joy and all these things. And we need that. We need the motivators. We need the people pushing us and cheering with us. But what we really need and what we don't like is the person who gets in our business and who calls us on it. The person who forces us to look at ourselves. Not look at them, not focus on what they were doing, but look at us and look at how we're still holding on to stuff. Look at how we're allowing the past to dictate our present and change our future. Yvette said, letting go is a wonderful thing. My ex and I are friends now, and God has blessed me with a wonderful man who loves me and loves God. Letting go. It requires, like I tell women all the time, the number one reason why you can't find Boaz, why you can't find the man God has for you, why you can't find your soulmate, whatever you want to call him, right? That man is because you're holding on to those men. You are still holding on to those men. And I didn't say you want them back. I didn't say you having sex with them. I didn't say you dealing with them. I didn't even say you're talking to them. But you're still holding on to them, right? Like, I've been cheated on. Like, I'm not special, right? Like, I'm a woman just like you. Stuff happens. I've met some dogs. I met some men who didn't know what they had. Because all of this is a great thing to have. Let's just keep it real. And I got cheated on. And it caused me to be suspicious of things that really mean nothing. Let me tell you how much we hold on to things, right? And sometimes we hold on to things that have never even happened to us. We meet a man and he has a lot of female Facebook friends. He doesn't know them. They're not his personal friends. Let's just be honest, ladies. He was cute. His profile picture was popping. So we hit friend. Maybe we liked them, prophetic messages that he was posting. So we hit that friend button, right? He was a little whatever it was, we friended him. So because he has these female friends, he's not talking to them on the phone. He's not inboxing with all of them. He's not doing anything with any of them. We go, oh, you probably out here cheating. Why? Because he got some friends on social media? Can I tell you how many men I've had run through my social media? Can I tell you how many men will hit like on every single picture I post? And I'll be like, for real? For real, for real. Can I tell you how many men will slide in the inbox, slide in the DMs and be like, hey, beautiful. How are you doing today, gorgeous? Right? Does that mean that I'm out here talking to them? Does that mean that I'm out here building relationships with them? No. That's not to say some men aren't and some women aren't. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, why are we basing somebody off of a stereotype that they may not even fit? Because we're holding on to some type of pain, some type of hurt, whether we experience it ourselves or whether somebody else experienced it close to us and we've internalized it for ourselves. Like, that's literally what happens. Let me tell you about the peace that comes from letting it go, right? Letting it go does not change them. It does not make them take accountability for their actions. It does not make them come to you and apologize so sincerely. It does not make them come bring you that money they owe you, because, yeah, some of us are holding on to the folks that owe us some coins. It doesn't do anything to them, like nothing. You know that old saying, we forgive for ourselves, right? It's this true forgiveness is letting it go. Not because it's going to make them better, not because it admonishes them of their responsibility or their role in the situation, but because it creates peace within you. It creates a sense of just calm in your storm, right? In your life. Like, I don't feel any kind of way. Like, I don't feel bruised. I don't feel battered. I don't feel rejected. I don't feel like a failure. I don't feel any of those things because this day failed. This day failing has nothing to do with who I am as a person. That doesn't mean I didn't learn the lessons from this day. That doesn't mean I don't make better choices from this day. But this day failing has nothing to do with the woman I am today. Why? Because it's gone. It's over. It done happened. It is a piece of my story. It is a piece that turned me into greatness. It is a piece of, it's a pain point that is now a purpose point. Like, that's literally what it is. And we cannot operate in the next phase until we let go of all those other phases. And when you learn to truly let go, when you learn to not hold on, not suppress, not stuff it down way underneath, but let it go, when you get to that point, you start letting stuff go almost instantly. You know, that woman that gave you that dirty look, you instantly go, did she just? And then you go, it don't matter. She must be having a bad day. And you move on, right? Or, you know, like when you're arguing, when you have an argument or a disagreement or discussion with your mate and they say something, you're able to just, you know, because they're your mate still and you still are in a relationship, you're able to go back and say, you know, you said this and it made me feel this way. And then it's gone. I'm not 10 months from now, 5 months from now, 10 days from now going, you know, according to my research, according to our history, you know, on April 15th, you said, and, you know, it brought about these feelings. If you don't let that go, you know, that I remember hearing older married women talk, and they go, you know, and we say it today a lot still, you know, if you're going to stay with him after he cheats, you got to let that go. You can't stay with nobody after they do something to you, hurt you, or any, and I mean little hurts. If you are going to sit there and hold on to it, you wasting your time and theirs, because it's not going to benefit you. Like, if you are holding on to that one time that they gave you that dirty look, do you know every time they look at you, you like, are they giving me that look again? Do you realize that you are literally putting the situation in that spot because you are holding on to it? It's time, y'all. It's time, ladies. It's especially time, my single moms, to let it go. I could not co-parent with any of my children's fathers if I held on to anything. Like, anything. Right? Like, that doesn't mean that I've forgotten. That doesn't mean that I don't know who you are. That doesn't mean that I don't see you for who you are. That just means that I don't make the decision of today based on the past events. I don't say that you can't do something or the baby can't go somewhere based off of the fact that you broke up with me, the fact that you cheated on me, the fact that the woman you with now is the woman that you used to be, that you was cheating with. Nope, because I let it go. And here's what happens when you let it go. You take your power back. You are now in control of you. They don't control any piece of you as soon as you let it go. So, it's great to let it go. Like, we've discussed how I let it go. We've discussed the beauty of letting it go. We've discussed the power, the peace that comes from letting it go. And some of you are right now saying to yourself, you know what, there's some things I need to let go of. I think I'm ready to let it go. You know, like, Jennifer, I get it. Like, let's let it go. I would love to help you let it go. So I decided this is what we're going to do. I created a special one session with me and you, private one-on-one. We're not sharing your business with anybody else. We're not telling anybody else. And you are going to vent it all out. Give me the list of what he did, they did, your mama did, your daddy did, what they didn't do, how they fell short. Give it to me. Give it all to me. And then we're going to go through it and figure out how to let it go. We're going to figure out how to release it. And guess what? It's not just the one session between the two of us, because I'm going to make sure that you leave with some notes, that you leave with some things to look back on. Just like how I look back on these pictures, I want you to leave with something that you can look at and say, letting this go, releasing this right here, and let's work through this. And you guys ready for this? Special, special, special. If you are ready to let it go, and if you are ready to take me up on my offer to help you let it go, I'm going to give you a special $50. That's it. One-on-one mentoring with me is way more than that. But I want us to let it go. I want us to release it. So I'm going to do something special because I'm ready to help you let it go. And that's how we're not going to talk about nothing except for all the things that you need to let go and how to let go of them. So if you're ready to make that happen, I'm going to post a link in the comments, so you can just click the link and schedule the time with me. You can always inbox me, or you can always email me, of course, at ms.jenn, pink like the color, at gmail.com. And as always, I'm going to ask all of you amazing ladies and gentlemen I saw listening, if any part of this message resounded with you, if any part of this message spoke to you, I would ask that you please share it. Share. Tag somebody, you know, hey girl, you might want to listen to this. Inbox it to them. Let's share it, because it is time. It is past time to let it go. So until next time, I want to wish you love, peace, and baby powder freshness. Mwah.